I'm welcoming another client success story this week on the podcast. So tune in to hear how this amazing woman decided to go all in on her dreams and let go of the belief of I'll just wait until the time is better. Hey, I'm Amanda, and welcome to the Best Damn Coach podcast, where I will teach you how to coach yourself, how to coach your clients, and how to run your coaching business. The number one goal of this show, though, is to help you be the best damn coach you can be so your clients go out and tell the world about you. So let's do the damn thing. Welcome to the BDC podcast. Before we dive in, we've created a new free resource for you. And here's why. One of the struggles I hear from so many beginning coaches or even seasoned coaches is they struggle with the sales conversation. So maybe you have your first sales call coming up, or you have this first discovery call booked, and you just don't know how to walk this prospective client through the sales process so it doesn't feel salesy for you. Or maybe you're a seasoned coach and sales just aren't your thing. You don't want to feel salesy. You avoid it. It doesn't feel good for you. I have created a free resource for you. It's literally the sales script that I have used to close millions of dollars of sales in my business. And I teach it in such a way that it doesn't feel salesy. And that's because sales should always come from a place of service. So if you want access to this free download, head on over to amanda-walker.com/sales, and you can grab it now. Once you grab it, I'm going to walk you through step by step the entire sales process to help you go from feeling sleazy in sales to feeling totally confident. All right, ladies, as always, these are my most favorite episodes of the show because you get to hear straight from my clients, women just like yourself, their journey as they step into themselves, as they, in this case, grow their business. So today I am joined by the lovely Telma, who is, you're going to quickly hear, one of the most energetic and like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed clients ever. And it's been an honor to guide her. So I'm so excited to share her journey. So welcome.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Yeah, we were just talking before we started this conversation. I was in between calls to discover my dogs had eaten the roll of paper towel from the bathroom because I was the guilty party who left the door open. Just share what you said too, because I think women will relate.
I said I am completely familiar with this scenario, but in my case, he isn't my puppies, he's my toddler.
Yeah, toddlers and toilet paper.
Mm-hmm.
And what's funnier is the pandemic, right? It does create scarcity around toilet paper because you're like, oh my goodness, right? Or I didn't realize how volatile paper supplies were until the pandemic and then various things happening. And now it's shifted our focus, right?
It totally does. And when you see a roll down the toilet drain, you're like, oh no. So it hurts a little bit more.
I've been there as a mom. I remember my son was standing over the toilet and it was kind of like, how many things can I throw in here? What's going to happen? Is it going to spout? Is it going to be a fountain? What's going to happen? So I've definitely been there with him.
Gosh, yes, my little one is intrigued by that same concept. And so every day unlocking the door does not stop her or childproof. She is a wise little thing.
Yeah, aren't they though? Crazy. Well, obviously you're a mama and entering into the phases of toddlers is one that I definitely remember. We connected, I guess it's been a year ago at this point, when you reached out after kind of meeting me online. I guess that's what you call it, meeting online, and discovering my work, and soon became a member of our Business Accelerator. So you've been inside that program, and I've watched you, grow not just your business, but grow your mindset, grow your confidence, and step into, this next level or this future self of yours. So I would love to go back though. And if you could rewind time, go back to when we first connected and just share a little bit about where you were, what was in your heart, what was in your mind, and why you decided to reach out.
Okay. So we didn't really meet. We were already best friends. You just didn't know about it.
I love it.
Yeah, it was a long, long time ago, but where was I a year ago? With toddlers, every day feels like a decade sometimes. So let me just rewind a little. I was already in a space, honestly, ever since I met my kids. The moment I delivered my kids is when all this really started, to where I realized I needed to make a change in which I really would feel and be the best version of myself for me and mostly for them. So they are like my biggest fire and my biggest why. But I think it was a year ago when I was like, okay, I'm finally going to do something about it. My daughter was 2.5 by then, like my oldest. And I was just like, okay, I waited, 2 years and thoughts are not going away. The anxiety is actually increasing of like, I know I'm supposed to be doing something else. And I know that I'm not necessarily like fulfilled in my corporate job. So this is just, if not now, when? I really thought that maybe by giving it the postpartum months, it would go away. Maybe it was just my hormones. Maybe I was just adapting, all the maybes. 2 years felt like a long time for me to actually take action. So when I saw that what you were doing on the program, I was like, I think that's exactly what I need. And I remember being super scared in our conversation that we had. I was like, it sounds perfect, but is it? But all the buts, right? And I think it was in that same conversation that you were like, well, what is the worst that can happen? I was like, oh, I stay still. I continue to wait. So I decided not to do that anymore.
Yeah.
And I joined. And it's been like a serious momentum ever since, because you were super clear, which is something that I really, really love about your coaching. You don't ever say, oh my gosh, in my program, you're going to do this, and this. You're going to be like, I'm going to give you the tools, and it's up for you to use them. And it's for you to move at the pace that you want. And it's for you to so you put all of it back on me, but with the tools that I was like, I just had no idea where to find them. I didn't know what the next step looked like. None of that. So I felt like you were giving me the answer to all the excuses that I would come up with. And so when I talked to my husband about it, I was like, I think this is what I've been looking for. And I've been stalking her for such a long time that I feel like I know her already. So I think this is it. And so I'm so glad that I joined that program, because yes, it's been huge change into all of my life.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing all of that. It's like sitting with you and your emotions already. It feels so.
Yeah. I was like, I'm not even sure if I answered the question, but
you did.
Like a year ago, it was different.
Well, I mean, you bring up such an important part is I myself fell into this trap too. When my business started growing, I was stuck in this hobby. Like, I'm just going to keep it small because in my mind, this wasn't the right timing. Like, I'm just going to wait to do great things until the kids are in school full time. Like, that was my story. Like, if both the kids are in kindergarten, then things will just be better. And what was underneath that was imposter syndrome of like, I'm not taking action in the way I can. And so I just commend you for saying, like, if I keep going, it's only going to fester and grow more. And where a lot of women might say, nope, I'm going to wait. I'm going to not do it. You decided to dive in with a whole heart. And that's super amazing.
Yeah. And I think it was because of you thought maybe when my kids are in kinder, I was like, oh my gosh, well, my kids are very little now. So like, if I start now, they'll actually see me trying and doing it. And I won't grow any more resentment.
Yeah. So can we just speak like you're in a corporate job, right? And you're building this thing on the side. First off, just talk about what the clarity was. I think you kind of had a sense of what you wanted to do before joining, and then that only got more clear and more clear, through the time together. But maybe just speak to a little bit around what the work is that you are doing with people now, so the audience can get kind of an understanding.
Yeah, for sure. So yes, I am in a corporate job, but I did submit my resignation. So Wait,
I didn't even know that.
No, because this is like fresh off the press. Actually, not a lot of people do.
We're celebrating on the show live. Oh my gosh, I'm so freaking excited for you.
Yes, me too. And all the things. I'm scared, I'm excited, I'm nervous, I'm excited, and mostly excited, which is why like my Excel of pros and cons was so long. But yes, my last day in the corporate world is going to be April 1st, and I cannot wait. And this wouldn't be possible without all of the support that I got in your program, all the support that I got from you personally. And I think all the work and the clarity that I have gained through the last year of actually doing it, of throwing myself in there and just say, there's only one way to find out if I'm actually going to be good at it, if I'm really going to enjoy it, if this is as good as it is in my mind, right?
It is.
So yes,
I'm like, it is.
It is, which is why I was like, I typed that email and I was like, oh my. And I started as a life coach a year ago, and I took in different clients to understand the type of person that I wanted to really fully support. And I have noticed that I am great in the group setting, which is why I am now doing group coaching. But on the one-on-one, I just want to help busy parents, because I can connect to them, get out of their head so they can really stand in their power. Because I feel like most of us have these dreams that we're like afraid of speaking about aloud. If you really take the time to really go inside and work on yourself, you can really find your infinite potential. So that's my mission and what really drives me.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. And I like what you said. Like, this is something that I encourage inside the accelerator is go coach and figure out who you want to coach. Because I think this is a mistake that we make. We think we have to know exactly who it is. And then we build up in our mind who it is. And then we start coaching those kind of people. And we're like, oh, I do not like this, right? I do not want to do this, which is kind of like my journey too of I coached heavily nutrition based stuff. And over time I was like, yeah, this is not my zone of genius. Like, this isn't something that fuels my tank. And that person evolves too. I think you'll even find that over time, like you will evolve, you know, as you evolve as a woman, that your ideal client may shift as well. And so it's so important, I think, if you're listening and you're a coach and you're like, I have to find my ideal client avatar, my niche, right? As we say in the entrepreneurial world, I disagree. I think you can start coaching and make money coaching and then figure out who it is that you really want to support. So I watched you kind of go through that journey through the program too. Okay, let's call it real life here. What do you feel like through this process of 1 year now? What do you think the hardest part's been for you? Most challenging, most uncomfortable?
Honestly, and I think you often like call it out and you kind of just want to not see it for what it is. But I totally fell into the trap of like, I'm not ready. I'm going to get another certification. So 5 certifications later.
Yeah. As we record that, that's actually my episode of the show that came out this week.
Yeah. I was like, I think it sounds very familiar, but yeah, you did say it. And I think it's such an easy trap to fall on. I mean, don't get me wrong. Every certification is beautiful and it provides different tools and all the things. And it's great to have it under your belt. But there's nothing that beats the actual adrenaline and the beautiful dynamic that it actually happens in actual coaching. So for me, it was for me to just say no more. I'm going to just jump in and do this. But once I finally did that, like, I think it was like the first 2 discovery calls were probably the hardest for me. And I remember having a one-on-one with you. And I was like, I'm shaking. What do I say? How do I go about this? I have never had this type of conversation before because in the corporate world that I did, everything is just so black and white and direct. And so this was so different from everything that I knew and I had done. But once I noticed that I could actually do it, like once I made the decision, I'm doing it. I'm going to do next week and it's over. And I kept the word to myself and I followed through. Then it became like a lot easier. But I think that's probably the hardest part.
Yeah, it's so true. It's a secret, sneaky form of self-sabotage because we tell ourselves, if we just know more, if we just like really what you're talking about is confidence, right? Is having the confidence. And ultimately, confidence is built through taking action.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. But then, you know, we all have all these beliefs. I grew up in a family that said, without a college degree, you're not going to get anywhere in life and all these things, right? That I had to really work on.
Mm-hmm. Totally. I mean, I remember, well, and I still do. I think I look at this as like a parenting perspective, right? Because now we're on the flip side of it, right? We both grew up similar, like go to college, like go through, stay in the box, right? Stay in the mold, like finish high school, go right to college, meet the love of your life, get married, have kids, and in that order. Right? That was also like a belief, right? And in that order. And so of course, like a good little girl, that's what I did until you get there and you're like, well, this isn't like feeling how I imagined it. And then enter in entrepreneurship. And it really does. It busts down so many belief systems you have about life, about making money, even about just working a traditional 9 to 5. Like until I became an entrepreneur, one thing I didn't know or realize was so ingrained in me was that the 9 to 5 schedule is right. Because there were so many times in the middle of the day where I'd be like, go meet up with a girlfriend to have, you know, lunch, or I'd get my nails done. Like today, I got my nails done at 11 o'clock. Right. But like at first there's like almost like this, is this okay? Like, am I allowed to do
Oh my
this?
gosh, all these guilt, right? Oh
Yeah.
my, it's so weird. I think for me, it actually started when I became a mom. I was like, there's a lot of things that I noticed growing up that I don't necessarily want to redo with my kids. So how do I go about that? Because I noticed that it was a learned behavior, right? I would react so quickly to a kid crying, to a dirty diaper. There was just never a time to slow down and really decide how I wanted to show up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And now you are, because you're teaching it to people, right? So it's like you are your ideal client. You were, rather, and you are, just like I am my ideal client too. But I mean, this conversation translates now into like education. I think about, man, I'm actually not going to trap my kids into believing this is what serves me. Again, people listening, you may disagree, but I'm not going to show my children, because now I'm on the other side of it, that going to college is the only way to create a future for them. If they choose to go to college and it serves them, would I like them to? Yeah, because there's so many cool things that come from college that are outside the academic, at least for me, the academic outcome. But I look back and I don't know that my master's degree serves me necessarily. I mean, I was a teacher. I still am a teacher in whatever way. But I think there's so many experiences that have led us up to this. But to step into entrepreneurship and say, wow, I invested all of this money in my education and I'm not officially going to be using it, was a really hard place for me to step out of and just say, it's okay. It served you then. It's not necessary for what you want to do moving ahead.
Yeah, for sure. And nobody takes that experience away, right? Like you can be in all the kinds of positions that you want and you want to and raise your kids however you want. And you grew up with the degrees that you wanted to, and that you like. I love some of the certifications that I have now. I feel like they're serving me a lot more than a college degree ever
Yeah.
did.
Oh,
So
easily agreed.
it's kind of all depends on what is it that you're doing and how is it that you want to apply it. But not that I have anything against the college degree. It's fine. I'm just saying I wanted to show up differently, and I didn't want to be, I wanted it to be my choice based on the research and what it felt right for me. So yes, doing that is so freeing and it's so empowering.
Yeah, I agree. College totally served me too, but I think it was more in like tactile and strategy, like textbook skill set. The investments that I've made to further my education as a coach have served me in emotional intelligence and mindset, which, man, I wish they would teach that in high school and college more. And I think there's like an element, right, of that coming around. At least, my kids have emotional intelligence training, if you will, or coaching at school that is kind of delivered to them. But I think we're recognizing that that's something that for survival and growth. Now we're coaching people that are lacking those skills because I don't think it's trickled down deep enough, young enough yet.
Yep.
Okay. So what do you feel like looking back through your journey inside the program and coaching? What's been your biggest aha moment of the experience?
My biggest aha moment of experience, I think it goes back to how long I waited. All the stories that we tell ourselves have such a powerful position until they don't. Mm-hmm. So I think that was my biggest aha moment, that who I was a year ago has really changed quite a bit. And a lot of the beliefs attached to it have I grown out of them, or I switched them to something that better serves me. And it's only by just making that choice.
Yeah. It's simple, right? It's simple and it's so complex.
Yeah, it sounds really simple, but it's a lot of work and it's a lot of deep work. So it's not as something that you can just do overnight. It takes for me, it took a lot of resistance. It took a lot of heartache. It took a lot of quiet time, a lot of conversations.
Yeah.
So
simple is not easy. And I think sometimes we think simple equals easy, and that is not true. The most simplest of tasks sometimes are the ones we experience the greatest resistance to. And then we look for strategies that are more complex because we think, it can't be this simple.
Yep. And I did that. Right, I'm really going to be making it more difficult. Yes. I totally added resistance to the process. But once I stopped, it was life-changing, and I'm glad I got there. Also very easy to continue to resist.
Yeah, it's very easy to give into the resistance. So what would you say to a woman who's maybe where you were as far as has this idea, this let's say beckoning for more? What would you say to your old self now, a year, ahead looking back?
I feel like when you know that there's something that you should be doing, there's something inside of you that it keeps continue to talk to you, and it continues to show up, and it continues to become part of your thoughts on how you show up. So I would just really encourage you to not ignore it. If the thought is already there, it's because the capacity is already there. So putting it off is just really kind of chipping at your own intuition and not necessarily helping you stand in your power or really grow and show up as what you're craving to be. So I would just say, don't wait.
Yeah, don't wait. So good. So simple. Not easy, but so simple. Right. So share now, like, okay, so where you're at now. Obviously you shared like a big announcement. You are leaving your corporate job and going all in on your business, which you're just going to have so much more space and capacity. I'm just very excited for you of knowing that because so much changes. So what's your future vision? Like you are obviously already starting clients or starting to one-to-one work. You've gotten clarity that you love the feeling of group coaching. So you're launching group coaching. So tell us more about what that is. And you hosted a retreat, co-hosted a retreat. Like so much has happened, after leaning in and joining, the accelerator and coaching. So what's happening now and what's next for you?
Let's see. Well, one-on-one work is still going to be where I spend a lot of my time in because I really enjoy it and I'm growing a lot from it myself. The group coaching, I am launching it. I'm going to be launching a few cohorts, but my first one is going to be in April and I cannot wait. Yes, I did a retreat and I plan on doing a second one. I really enjoyed it to where I didn't realize how much fun it would be. And I'm doing all of this because I love it, but because it is fun, because it's not just, it doesn't feel like work. It just feels like community, like connection, like everything that I love and crave. That's what I'm working on. And by next year, I'm writing a book and we'll see if I finish it by next year. But that's a thank you note to my kids for being the fire inside of me.
I love it. And one of my favorite statements is dreaming is a form of planning. And so that's like how we opened up the accelerator. Like we have to keep making space for ourselves to dream because if you're thinking of it, it is possible. However, you are the ultimate deciding factor on if you decide to wait or if you decide to pursue it. And I hope this conversation, if you're listening, is just giving you the permission to see like we're just two women, you and I, right? Who decided not to wait and who decided to give ourselves permission to keep chasing that internal whisper, right? That grows over time. And we're no different. We're not unicorns. There's people that want to support you and help you get to that next level too. So thank you for joining us and sharing. And you're such an easy conversation to have. So thank you.
Yeah, no, anytime. I'm so excited to be here. And yes, I would just say that if your thoughts are already there, just listen to them or journal. I know that you're a huge journal about it, or actually ask yourself, what does it look like, and dream a little bit more on it and to where you feel that is something that you can actually touch. But I'm a firm believer, and honestly, an example that if it's in your mind, then it's because you already have the capacity for it. And
yeah, totally.
We all have like a big why. Just find yours and go for it.
Yeah. Amazing. Tell the audience where they can connect with you. So if they hear you, love you, want to follow along with your journey more, where's a good place to connect?
I am most active on Instagram at Telma SMV. And in there, you can have in the link tree, you can actually go to my website. You can schedule a call with me, learn about my next retreat, my next group coaching, whatever it is that you want, or my everyday life, how I look on a sweaty day and a good day.
Well, you're a fellow fitness junkie like myself. So that we definitely have in common. Will you spell out your Instagram handle?
Yeah, it's at TELMASMV. As in vacuum.
Perfect. Okay. It's just hard. It's easier when they're listening, it's easier to spell it out for them. So they don't hunt you down like, what is she saying? I can't tell. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being you, for sharing, for bringing your energy into the accelerator. It was better because you were there. Just so excited for you to leave your job and to see imagine, all that you've created in 1 year. Imagine a year from now. It's only going to keep, continue to build and to grow. So I'm honored to just watch it and be a part of it.
No, yes. Thank you so much for being a huge part of it and giving me the tools that I needed in order to run out of excuses and to take action. And for the group that you created, because it's a beautiful group in which honestly, we became really good friends. We became we're on the same phase, and it's kind of like a friendship that is hard to find elsewhere, especially as you start in the entrepreneurship world.
Yeah.
So if anybody is listening and they just need to join or they have any questions, they can also reach out to me for additional questions as a client of it.
Thank you.
But honestly, I highly, highly recommend it. And the ladies that I met there you all have a very special place in my heart.
Yeah, likewise. And hopefully you will be able to, in your future, attend one of my entrepreneur retreats and reconnect with some of them too, because I know they highly valued that experience. And I'd love to have a little reunion, right, from each cohort. So thank you. Every week, I put my heart and soul into this podcast to bring you value and to help you grow as a person and as a coach. And one of the ways, very simple ways you can return that favor is by leaving us a review. So if you haven't left us a review, head on over to Apple or Spotify, leave us a review, let us know how we're doing, let us know what content you love and which content pieces are really speaking to you now.